Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this, my first episode of the Classic Wrestling series in 2019. Pump the brakes, Classic Wrestling Review. I'm here for the Classic WWF Review. Just calm down, let me explain. The only thing that's changed is the name. That's all. Because I've decided that not only am I doing Classic WWF pay-per-views, I'm going to do Classic WCW and ECW pay-per-views. And maybe a little bit of British wrestling thrown in for the mix, just for the old time's sake. I might actually do that next. Ooh. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we are here. Now, I did say that this episode would be the bonus episode that I do. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is. And how fitting of the name of the pay-per-view. Ladies and gentlemen, it's December 15th, 1996. We are here with West Palm Beach, Florida, at the West Palm Beach Auditorium. 5,708 fans witnessed It's Time in Your House 12. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the catchphrase that would send Vader into the stars. Ladies and gentlemen, the tagline is Sharpshooter versus Powerbomb as the WWF champion Psycho Sid takes on a four-time WWF champion Bret the Hitman Hart. Looking forward to that one. I think that'll be a good match. But, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. So, this is going to be a good show, ladies and gentlemen, I believe. So, what has happened during this time? Well, we have had Stone Cold Steve Austin come up. We have also had, Stone Cold Steve Austin is now feuding with the Hart Foundation, the Hart. So British Bulldog, Owen Hart, Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart would come on to Raw later on in the year. But also, ladies and gentlemen, the first time ever, the Undertaker and Paul Bearer would split. This is extreme. If you were around this time, the Undertaker and Paul Bearer are the most iconic manager superstar double team, I think. Bar maybe Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Hart, Hulk Hogan, Mr. Perfect, and Bobby the Brain Heenan. That is iconic. That is what most people believe. A lot of people will remember that the Undertaker's first manager was actually Brother Love, Bruce Pritchard. But Paul Bearer would come back in because, duh, we need an Undertaker, so duh, we need somebody who could actually perform a fucking funeral. Ironically enough, Paul Bearer was actually a funeral director. Ironically enough for you all, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm not talking about that. I'm here to talk about a first on the channel again. I'm here to talk about the devastating, the iconic Armageddon match? What the hell is an Armageddon match? Ladies and gentlemen, it goes by many different names, but the most iconic name and the most iconic match is simply known as a Texas Death Match. Now, off the top of my head, there are two brilliant, just perfect Texas Death Matches. One of them is Terry Funk versus Ric Flair. The other one is Chris Harris versus James Storm from TNA. I really want to review one of those two, but which one will it be? But ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talk about this. So, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, at SummerSlam 1996, The Undertaker turned face when Mankind hits him with the urn, and then Paul Bearer does the same thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talk about the pay-per-view. So, we've got Vince McMahon, Jim Ross, and Jerry the King Lawler on commentary, which is always good. Mr. Perfect is now an interviewer. Fuck you, Vince. Fuck off. Also, ladies and gentlemen, in dark matches, we had got Baracus taking on Mr. Dr. X. The devastating names continue. Baracus would win in an unknown amount of time. Stone Cold Steve Austin, who isn't on the fucking card, bar a run-in, isn't on the fucking card, defeated Goldust, who, again, wasn't on the fucking card, did a run-in. Dumbass. And, Shawn Michaels, who did commentary, versus Mankind, who did a run-in. Why put these matches on Dark? Yeah, prick. They're good matches. Stone Cold would defeat Goldust in 14 minutes and 4 seconds, and Shawn Michaels would defeat Mankind in 6 minutes 55 seconds. So, also, on the free-for-all, we had Rocky Maivia taking on Salvatore Sinclair, and, well, Rocky Maivia would win by disqualification in 6 minutes and 1 second. Yay! So, ladies and gentlemen, our first matchup is going to be Flash Funk versus Leif Cassidy. Those names sound familiar. So we just had Flash Funk versus Leif Cassidy in a good match. The beginning of the match was a little bit slow, but afterwards they put on a good technical wrestling match, I thought. The crowd was silent for most of it, by the ending. Leif Cassidy would hit the splash for the win. But, ladies and gentlemen, these two would still cross paths. They would actually form a tag team with Hardcore Holly called the Job Squad. And then when Hardcore Holly turned on Al Snow, that feud would start for the Hardcore title. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Flash Funk would be known as Too Cold Scorpio back in ECW, and Leif Cassidy would be turned into Al Snow. Apologies about that, ladies and gentlemen. Daddy sales, dickheads. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so as I was saying, Flash Funk versus Leif Cassidy. It was a good match. I thought it was a very good match, and yeah. So, next up is the WWF Tag Team title match. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog, The Streak Lives On, versus Diesel and Razor Ramon? Huh? Well, let's find out. Just one moment, guys. I love Jim Ross as a commentator, but he completely fucked up. He called the 450 splash a shooting star press. The problem is, the shooting star press is a backflip into the splash. A 450 splash is a forward flip and a half. So, yeah. About that, it was a good match. So we just had the British Bulldog and Owen Hart taking on Diesel and Razor. Okay. No, they're not Diesel and they're not Razor Ramon, of course. Diesel and Razor Ramon would actually be known as Kevin Nash and Scott Hall in WCW. They actually left. So the reason why Razor left the WWF was because he wanted more money, and well, WCW hired him. So basically, Scott Hall was injured, and he was varying offers from both WCW and WWF. He went with WCW. So, in spite, Vince took him off the pay-per-view at WrestleMania 12 because of, well, that reason. So he wouldn't get a WrestleMania pay bonus. So, why did that, well, fuck up WrestleMania 12? It didn't, actually, because if you remember, I did a review on it, guys. Link is somewhere. This will be basically in the playlist. It was actually going to be a Miami street fight, which it was between Razor Ramon and Goldust at the time, who was not being the Continental Champion. But, ladies and gentlemen, it then changed to Rowdy Roddy Piper versus Goldust in a Hollywood backlot brawl with the O.J. Simpson stuff. Diesel basically left the WWF because, again, he wanted more money. WCW hired him, and basically that's why. Again, he was left off. I think he was left off Mania again for the same reasons as Scott Hall did. But this Diesel will be known as Glenn Jacobs. Well, what famous portrayal did Glenn Jacobs do? Well, he was Kane, for fuck's sake. He's been Kane for the past 20 years, ladies and gentlemen. So he's had a long story career in the WWF/E, guys. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog, well, they're Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. They can bring a good match out of fucking anybody, for fuck's sake. Stone Cold would get involved in the match, or try to. It was a good match. The finish was a bit shitty. Owen Hart drop kicking Razor in the face, and the Bulldog rolling him up. And then Austin would get revenge on the British Bulldog by clotheslining him in the back of the head. So next up, guys, we've got Mark Mello with Sable. This match is going to be good. Taking on Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Whatever happened to him? So we just had Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Mark Merrow. Again, whatever happened to Hunter Hearst Helmsley? It was a very good opening. Opening. It was a very good Intercontinental title match. A lot of backwards and forwards. Mark Merrow going for the wild pin, which is the shooting star press. Missing. The only thing I fucking hated was Gold Dust getting involved. That was the one thing I hated about the match. Do apologize about that, guys. Neighbor. But yeah, it was a really, really good match. Sorry about that. Like I said, neighbor doing a job for us. Very kind. Thank you. But yeah, it was really good. I thought it was an okay match, bar the interference, and yeah, it sets up a triple threat match, which I don't think happened, which is unjust. Next up, it's The Undertaker versus The Executioner in the Armageddon Rules match. Let's watch it. We just had The Undertaker versus The Executioner in the Armageddon Rules match, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like this match. And the problem is, I'm a huge fan of The Undertaker. My good friend Harry is a fan of The Undertaker. This match, I don't know if it was Undertaker, I don't know if it was The Executioner, being played by Terry Ray Gordy, or Terry Gordy at this point. I don't know what it was, but I did not enjoy this match. In fact, I thought it's actually one of the worst matches on the card. The problem is, it goes 11 minutes and 31 seconds. I think it's to do with the Mankind run-in. It wasn't needed, and then Mankind being restrained by asylum people and being put in a straitjacket. I think the match should have gone a little bit longer, in my eyes, to accommodate the craziness. You know, have a couple of pinfalls outside. Have a pinfall outside. Get up at 2 and anything. But this match was awful. I go into a pay-per-view like I've bought it, like many people. I'll give a good and a bad example. Good example, WWE Evolution. I paid $9.99 for it, naturally, because it was on the network. But I go into it thinking, okay, I'm on Sky Sports in the UK. Oh, WWE Evolution. First all-women's pay-per-view, 1995? I've got 20 quid to spare, fuck it, I'll do it. And I enjoyed it. I think it's actually one of the very few pay-per-views I gave an A+ to, outside of the Classic Wrestling series. I think it might be the actual only A-star pay-per-view I gave, because the matches were good or better. Hell, Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey was a damn good match, and I would never thought I'd say that. But then you look on the side of, well, WCW. You look at Halloween Havoc. Oh, Halloween Havoc. Oh, I've got $29.95. Hogan Warrior 2? Fuck yes, bye. And it was absolutely fucking terrible. Yes, there were some good matches on it. Brett versus Sting was okay. Yeah, okay. Yes, I watched the match. I was joking when I was asleep. The match was okay. The finish was shit. Hogan Warrior 2. It was shit. It was the PWI's worst match of the year for 1998. I think it actually won the PWI worst match of the decade or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But it was an awful, awful, awful pay-per-view. This kind of weakens the pay-per-view because we had a very good opener with Flash Funk and Leaf Cassidy. We had we had a good match with Owen Hart and British Bulldog managing to bring Diesel and Razor to a good match. Mark Merrow and Hunter was brilliant, I thought, bar the fucking running. And then we have this kind of sloppy match, and it's like, oh, you've really put a damper on it. Oh, fuck off. You put a damper on it. And it's The Undertaker. And I love The Undertaker, like I said. I don't know. I don't know if they booked it. I don't know if Undertaker didn't really give a fuck. I don't care. You know, I don't know, and I don't care. It was just one of the worst. It was the worst match of the card. But, ladies and gentlemen, we will have Psycho Sid versus Bret Hart in a moment. But first, I think we have a promo from Bret Hart, and I will talk about the promos in a moment. So we just had the interview with Bret. We're going to go into all 3 interviews that were occurring on the night. The first up was Ahmed Johnson talking about his feud with the Nation of Domination's member Farouk, and talking about how they're going to fight. I thought it was good. I always liked Farouk Farouk and Ahmed Johnson were 2 underrated wrestlers. I thought I always enjoyed when they fought or had a wrestling match because, well, I feel their emotion. They are good wrestlers. Ahmed would suffer injuries which are fucking awful. when he was actually the Intercontinental Champion, he would actually suffer an injury, which is really, really bad. But, I mean, he was a good wrestler. Next up, we had Cycle Sid talking about the main event and talking about how he blindsided Bret Hart and how Shawn was attacking him. I don't like Cycle Sid's promos, or Sid, just its promos. They go really quiet, then really loud, and it's fucking stupid. It's like when Samoa Joe was going through the one nation of violence in TNA. He was doing the exact same thing, and his promos are the exact same thing as well. And then Bret Hart talking about the match with Cycle and Shawn music hitting, and then he just flips out. It's like, that's funny, because I bet that was actually fucking real. Shawn coming out to a big pop because it's Shawn Michaels and everybody loves him. So now we've got the title match, Cycle Sid versus Bret Hart, and I'm actually looking forward to this match. Bret can bring anybody to a good match. Can he bring a good match out of Cycle? Let's find out. So we just had Cycle Sid versus Bret Hart, and I'm not gonna lie, this match was okay at best, bad at times. Tell you now, did not need the run in from Austin, did not need the run in from British Bulldog Owen Hart, and it definitely did not. I think the only time I would accept it if it was Shawn Michaels, because that sets up the Royal Rumble match between Cycle Sid and Shawn Michaels. That works. Didn't like this match, hated it for the run-ins, but it told a story about the powerbomb versus the sharpshooter. But the problem is they bid up the sharpshooter by basically attacking, Bret attacking the lower back, but they didn't explain that the problems would be lifting up the person for the powerbomb, which is the problem, which is okay. Cycle Sid wins with a powerbomb after Bret Hart collides with Shawn, and then after the match, Shawn would get attacked by Bret. Now, I don't know if that was legit or not. Certainly looked like it, but I can't comment on it. So, what did I think of the pay-per-view overall? The first three matches were damn good, I thought. Flash Funk, Leif Cassidy was good. I think his actual, as an opener, really underrated as an opener. So I definitely would recommend, if you can find a pay-per-view or a match, definitely watch Flash Funk versus Leif Cassidy. That was a good match. Also, tag team match was good. Mark Merrill versus Hunter was okay. And then it just went downhill with The Undertaker and The Executioner, and then it kind of peaked back up a little bit with Cycle Sid versus Bret Hart. So what would happen? Cycle Sid and Shawn Michaels would face off at Royal Rumble. Then we would have Cycle Sid versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 13. We would also have the Bret Hart heel turn and the Austin face turn at WrestleMania 13 with the infamous double turn at the submission match with Ken Shamrock, who actually negated an NJPW championship match from New Japan to referee this match, to referee the submissions match, which I thought was really, really good. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the premiere episode of the Classic Wrestling series over. I have enjoyed watching this pay-per-view. If I would give it a rating, I'd give it a B. Give it a B minus, in fact. Give it a B minus. First three matches were good. The last two matches didn't live up to the hype. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, it's a new era in the Classic Wrestling series. But where to go to next? Now that the door is open to many wrestling shows and pay-per-views, where do we go next? You know what? I've just realised something. This is episode 12. And this pay-per-view was the In Your House 12. Next time it's episode 13. Sometimes it's unlucky for some. Sometimes it's lucky for others. I think I know where we're going to go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of the day. I hope you had an okay New Year, great Christmas, whatever you celebrate, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a new era here with Classic Wrestling Series. Thank you so much for watching. Stay epic.